Here's how David Goldenberg, the Ridgefield Affordable Housing Committee's chair, has become a lightning rod and a giant liability and detriment to their mission. This Facebook post seems to have struck more than a few people as gratuitous othering, as he puts it himself, in the discussion that follows at the Affordable Housing Committee meeting on Wednesday, October 26, 2022.
My name?
Yeah.
Michael Schmer?
SCHMER?
Correct. Ridgefield is a town of approximately 25,000 people, made up of Republicans, Democrats, Independents, and those that are unaffiliated. It's okay to disagree and have various opinions and open discussions of free ideas. This is how our country was built. What is not okay is the hate and name calling of entire groups of people because they simply disagree or have ideas or opinions that are, excuse me, ideas or opinions that you have that apply, this applies to all parties. Calling someone or practicing anti-Semitism is completely unacceptable. Whether calling a person anti-Semite in person, through personal emails, Facebook pages, or anywhere else is just plain wrong, and there should be consequences for their actions, especially when they represent a large group of people. And it's for this reason why I'm calling and suggesting that the Affordable Housing Committee and the Board of Selectmen immediately call for Dave's resignation. Excuse me, this is not only as a chairperson, but as a committee member. Those that represent the committee should be appalled by your behavior today, and therefore you should resign immediately. Thank you.
Thank you for your comment. Just to be clear, are you the one who, on my personal Facebook page today, called me a son of a bitch?
Yes, I am.
Okay, thank you. That's all I needed to know.
Yeah, and you called me anti-Semite before, so.
I never, no.
Yeah, you did. Our very first reaction about a year ago, you did.
This is an elephant in the room. Is it okay if I address this? It's not material to the
Would you like to say it?
operation of the committee. But may I address this with the committee's permission? All right. There have been in the past couple of weeks a number of anti-Semitic remarks from people in the Trump wing of the Republican Party.
It's not a political issue, Dave.
I'm sorry. You're not recognized at the moment. These statements were not criticized by members of the party, by the party leadership. It seemed as though if it were completely acceptable, this is a process called othering, what they did. And I posted on my personal Facebook page to my many Republican friends, some of them are here, I can't do anything about the anti-Semitism festering in the Republican Party, but you can. So what's it going to be? That was not an attack on all Republicans. It certainly had nothing to do with Ridgefield. But it was copied by a member of the committee and posted on the Ridgefield Voters United page, a member of this committee, circulated around town, and there were multiple calls into the office of the first selectman demanding my resignation. There were also comments such as Mr. Schmer's online. So that's what this is about. As Rudy knows, I, as am all of you, I am entitled to freedom of speech. And what I post on my own personal page is my own business. If someone wants to misunderstand it, it's their business. But to inject this into the work of the committee just doesn't make sense to me. That's all I have to say about that. Does anybody else in the committee want to comment about it?
I do. You injected it into this committee. Being who you are, you injected it into the committee. So please, don't put it on other people. Everyone at this table knows I am Ridgefield Voters United spokesperson. It is my obligation to post that when the members want it posted. That wasn't Lori on my personal page. That was on the Ridgefield Voters United page.
Okay.
But you injected it in. Nobody else.
I posted it on
You posted. Dave, do you know who you are? Have you been here for the past year?
I have a pretty good idea of who I am and what people think of me at this point.
It's not a matter of what people think of you. It's what you post. It is a reflection on this committee. It is embarrassing for us. We come to these meetings and we get yelled at. all the time.
If
If
you,
we can't get
Lori,
anything done.
We're getting stuff done, and if you are embarrassed by a criticism of anti-Semitism, I don't know what to say.
I'm not embarrassed by anti-Semitism. That's you. You keep bringing it up. And it is part of this committee. You are the chair of this committee. You need to conduct yourself with respect and dignity and understand that you are part of this committee. I don't put anything on my personal page like that simply because I am on this committee. There's a lot I want to say on both sides. I'm an unaffiliated, believe me. I could lay on a lot of people, but I don't because I'm trying to respect the feelings of everyone on this committee as well as the public. It's just something that throws us off.
Well, I want to apologize if I offended anybody who supports anti-Semites.
Nobody does, Dave, and it's not a laughing matter. It's really not.
Okay.
It's upsetting to people. I don't need to have constant DMs coming in. Neither does Deborah, neither does anybody else here.
Well, tell them to stay off my personal page.
But you put it out there. You can't have Facebook and say it's personal. That's an oxymoron.
No, it's the Constitution.
But it's out there. And you are who you are.
Any other comments from the committee?
I have a question for Mr. Schmer. Are you saying that at some point, like a year
I'm
ago?
sorry, I have back here.
Oh, I'm sorry.
No, that's okay, Mike.
Are you saying that a year or more ago, he actually used the term anti-Semite?
To me, he did, yeah.
directed at
He
you?
called me as anti-Semite. The
Did
very
he
first.
do that in writing,
the
or
very
was
fir-
it
You didn't know
both?
who I was.
Was it oral or was it in writing?
It was on Facebook.
It was on Facebook.
I've been trying to find it all day. I can't seem to find it, and I will continue doing it. But the very first communication I had with Dave, he called me an anti-Semite name. I let it go. I didn't know who he was. Okay, fine, I let it go. Then it happens again today with a whole group of people. You know, where you like Donald Trump, all of a sudden you're an anti-Semite. That's calling a whole group of people a name that just you don't know from a hole in the wall.
What I said was, and this is going to be because we have work to do, is that people who support Donald Trump and Kanye West and people like him are supporting anti-Semites, and they have the power to stop it. In no way did I call you
That's
or
maybe
anyone an anti-Semite.
Maybe you should put that on Facebook.
Well, I assume people have basic reading comprehension.
Oh, right.
Yeah,
You also offended me by saying I don't have basic comprehension. That reading comprehension too, by the way. You call me stupid as well.
Okay, I just want to say
But
one other
basically
thing.
saying that I don't have
You
reading
know, you're
comprehension.
hijacking this meeting. This is a waste of time. Please sit down. Are there any other
I
comments?
just want to make one other.
Waste of time, okay. Waste of time.
We all
You're a
know
waste of time, Dave.
that Dave
That's what I think.
has been in the public eye about how
personal,
he
huh?
runs things in this committee. But it was just a month ago that we basically re-elected him to be the chair. We had our chance then if we didn't like him, but there weren't enough. The majority of the committee re-elected him as the chair. So that's where we are.
That's a reflection on you guys. What could I tell you?
Any other comments about this?
I'm not sure. I saw this. I don't watch news. I watch Netflix all day, and that's not Netflix. I watch reading. I haven't heard anything except for Kanye West saying something stupid, which she does all the time, and I'm not sure how that led to Trump or any Republicans. So I just feel like you know, it's probably something that should have been said, and we should move on from there. Because it doesn't really target a certain group, it just targets a certain mental person that's really just not mentally stable and hasn't been for years. So to take anything he says or grain of salt is really not smart in my opinion. So that's all I have to say.
Anything else? All right, let's move on. Anyone else?
Yes.
Mr. Calvert, that's it. Try.
My name is Greg Kabasakalian.
Come on.
It's easy for you to say.
I learned this week in my DEI training that since people have been mispronouncing my name for the better part of almost 60 years, that's a microaggression. I come before you tonight, and I patiently waited quietly and listened, and I thank you for all of your hard work, and I've gained valuable insight to how this committee operates, and I find it valuable. You know I am on the Board of Finance. That's not why I'm here, because different boards and committees operate differently. However, I come with a couple of thoughts in my mind. And of course, this does have to do with certain extraordinarily insensitive comments that were made online that we all know about at this point. When I first read them, it deeply bothered me to the point where I picked up the phone, I called one of my colleagues, and just so you know, I work in Lower Manhattan in the financial district. I have a very thick skin. Who happens to be an Orthodox Jewish man from Brooklyn, who I've been working with for a number of years. And I said, Michael, you find me anti-Semitic? And he started laughing. And I said, Michael, I rarely ever talk politics with you. We talk mostly about the Yankees and work, of course. I said, do you find Republicans to categorically be anti-Semitic? And then he needed oxygen because he said, Greg, I'm a Republican. So is my wife, so is my dad. And that made me feel good. That made me feel very good because I knew I was not anti-Semitic. See my lapel? I have the American flag on it. Underneath that, I wear my badge for the Republican Party because I am a Republican. And I'm not ashamed of being a Republican. I've been a Republican my whole life. I am ashamed of the divisiveness that's being taken place in this country and now in this town. And as somebody who's been here since May 1st of 1966, I don't want it. It doesn't belong here. I'm not going anywhere. I'm staying. And I listened to what you folks were talking about tonight. You did vote a new chairman in. And folks have asked you to resign. They've told you to get rid of him. They've asked Rudy to get rid of you. And I don't do this, okay? Which brings me to my second point as a Board of Finance member. Maybe you all don't know this, okay? There's a new code of conduct that's been adopted, and I'm probably using the terms loosely, but every time a new person is put on a board or committee or whatever, they take this oath, they have to read this. I think it's a 6-page document. You can get it from Wendy Lionhead. And it has to do with treating people in a certain manner. It doesn't belong in Ridgefield. I think the Board of Selectmen put it together. I think it's called Title 11, something like that. I suggest you get a copy of it. I suggest you read it. And I suggest staying off Facebook because it's a sewer, quite frankly. We are all adults here, right? Because after I reread that document, I won't be asking for your resignation. I won't be petitioning Mr. Marconi to remove you from this committee. I won't be petitioning the town to disband this committee that does good work. But what I might do is file an ethics complaint against you, because I think what you said was extraordinarily insulting. You owe this committee an apology. You reflect poorly on them. If you were on my Board of Finance, we'd have a long talk. You need to apologize to them. And maybe, just maybe, I will suggest to Rudy, you take a DEI class so you can say, well, maybe not all Republicans are anti-Semitic. Think about that.
I never said all Republicans were anti-Semitic, and that's not related to our work. Minutes. And, oh, I'm sorry, are there any other comments?
Colette Kabasakalian, 2 Washington Avenue.
Yes.
Please resign.
Any other comments?
No, I'm just Jefferson Duffy, Prospect Street. I read those comments, and you did say those comments. I mean, that you're denying that you said all Republicans are anti-Semitic.
That's what I'm denying. I said.
What was the comment?
No, I'm not going to waste the committee's time on this. Let's do minutes, unless there's anybody else who has comments.
Sir, your name for the record?
Jefferson Guthrie.
Godfrey?
Guthrie.
Oh, Guthrie, forgive me.
That's no problem.
It takes a lot to get me to a committee at this time of night. But I felt that those comments were unnecessary. And I think it's shameful for this town. I think it's shameful for the committee not to condone those comments. And the silence in this committee is deafening. That's all I gotta say.
Okay, thank you. Minutes.